Hello, ladies and gents, and welcome to week 4 of our fabulous American literature class. I have Charlie as a TA this week because childcare got canceled with COVID and all that other fun stuff. So he is going to help me or make things more difficult. Probably the latter. So as we look ahead this week, we are going to be doing some great reading from Anderson, his book on Winesburg, Ohio. We're going to read Hands and Mother, all of those pages available for you here. And then tomorrow, you guys get to read one of my favorite stories. It's kind of a creepy, kind of favorite story. It's called A Rose for Emily by William Faulkner. William Faulkner is probably one of the more recognizable names in American literature. Very prolific writer, wrote a lot of very challenging kind of books, lots of stream of consciousness, oftentimes a darker sort of topic. He's pretty firmly in a Southern Gothic sort of style of literature, where you get a little bit of dark humor, kind of gallows humor, but a very interesting look at some of the culture of the South at the time in which he was writing, and some very interesting families that he created. So, A Rose for Emily is a short story instead of one of his longer novels, where he is playing around with some characters in a town in which he set some of his bigger books. And so, Rose for Emily, you're reading along and you're like, nothing's really happening in the story. And you get to the end and you're like, holy freaking cow, what just happened? So, it's very fun. When you get to the end, you're like, oh, that's just, what happened? So please read that because it's really cool. And then we're going to be reading some poems by Edna St. Vincent Millay. She's got some beautiful poems. She is a fabulous American author who used to be in our version of the textbook, and then they decided to cut her pieces, which I think was a big mistake on their part. So we're still going to read them. So I've got them here for you, just copied into the calendar. They are also in the modules tab. So if you're wondering, where is that? It's here and it's in the modules, and I'll show you where in the modules in just a minute. But just a couple short poems of hers, but very impactful ones. The last one is probably my favorite because just the title. I will put chaos into 14 lines. Like, how do you top that? That's fantastic. So read through Edna St. Vincent Millay's poems. Really, really fabulous. And then you do have an assignment on Friday about Millay and war because they're writing during war, which of course is going to impact how people look at life, how they look at the future, how they look at the value of human life, what's worth dying for, like a lot of questions that we have to ask ourselves and that the poets are compelling the reader to ask. So in Malayan War, you're going to be looking at Edna St. Vincent Millay's poems, specifically Apostrophe to Man, um, and you're going to look and see how you might interpret her understanding of war and what message maybe she's trying to give her reader, because there are some really disparate ways that we can interpret this poem. One of them is kind of inspiring and the other one is kind of depressing. So we can take the poem two very different directions. So once again, the cool thing about us as readers is that we bring our own understanding of the world to the table, right? Our own schema that we talked about in previous videos, Aristotle's idea of this underlying conceptual framework that dictates how we understand art and literature and the world around us and how we connect to people and relate experiences. It's a pretty cool concept that says everything in your past is working to create you to be the person you are in this moment in time, and it all impacts your understanding of things you're exposed to, which is kind of cool. So everyone's going to interpret the poem a little bit differently. That's awesome. That's exactly as it should be. So go ahead, just dig deep. We want to have 1 to 3 paragraphs about how Malay feels about war. Each paragraph should be about 300, 600 words. So dig in, feel free. Please include quotations. When you include quotations, do make sure that you are citing the poem and the line number as you're doing that. I'm very excited to see what you guys think about this. It's going to be fun. And then if we go into the modules tab, as always, we've got some supplemental information that is helpful for you. We go into the modernism folder, and we've got the Edna St. Vincent Millay poems for you here. They're available through the calendar as well, but if you want them in an easier to read Word document, that's here for you as well. So hopefully that helps you kind of dig in and understand more of what we're looking for with Edna St. Vincent Millay and her fabulous poems. Um, and also enjoy Faulkner's A Rose for Emily because it's super wonky and crazy, and I really hope you like it. All right, so have fun writing, guys. Have fun reading. And as always, if you have any questions, reach out. I'm here to help.